nigga.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the podcasters and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent or their affiliates.
Action!
Wow.
Happy Monday,
Lord,
everybody.
here we go. Right.
Royal's back. How are you?
Happy Monday, blessed
Royal's
Monday.
back.
It's always a blessed Monday. We are all breathing.
You charged up? You charged up?
Where you been, Royal? Where you been? You've been trying to be incognito with us.
Oh no,
you had me. Your stalkers asking about you. Yeah, stalkers asking about you in the streets this weekend. I was like, what the hell?
Doctor's appointment.
I thought I was going to have to bear Mason, nigga. So.
Ghetto.
Oh Lord.
Y'all know y'all better leave me alone. Fontaine will beat y'all up. I'm his little baby sister.
They coming though. They gonna come on the sneak though.
Philly Whopper, you good over there?
Yep. Can y'all hear me?
You ain't moving.
Yeah.
But your face ain't moving. We can hear you.
Yeah.
Something wrong with your face though. We can sure hear you though.
He has to come back on.
There you go.
I told you.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell it just did.
Oh. Okay, freeze frame.
Yeah. That's exactly how you look too.
Right, yeah. No. Your lips is moving too much. I'm playing. Well, check this out. We're gonna go and get this thing started. It's your main Fontaine, the court-appointed devil's advocate. We got Mecca, the feelings wrecker, aka Stephen A. Smith's little brother. We got Dr. Phil to make you feel better.
Listening to this,
and
dude
we got
right
Miss Royale with the hocus pocus and the clockets and the rest of that.
Clock that
jibber jabber. Rest of that jabber.
Hey everybody, happy Monday.
This a bit. I can't take it. So why are you looking like that, Mecca? Why you off in La La Land?
No. I'm sharing the live. Stay in your lane, player.
He's doing what's that called? Back end.
I am in my lane. The fast lane. Yeah, but I'm in the fast lane. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Go slow.
Okay.
But we're gonna get this thing started. Yeah, we're gonna get this thing started today. We're gonna talk about motorcycle accidents and what you need to be doing, what you can do, what you can't do. But we're gonna learn it from an expert who's been doing it for a while. Miss Laurie Montoya.
Oh, I
How
like
you
that.
doing? Right.
What's going on, you guys?
And so Laurie, do us a favor and let us know about your organization, Biker Down, and what it does and what it's for and things of that nature.
Okay, so Biker Down was founded here in Denver, Colorado, where I live, after me riding on the back and seeing a lot of my friends go down. And we were up in the mountains, which I'm sure a lot of y'all ride in, and we messed up the accident scene so bad that we actually clogged the ambulance from being able to get to us because we didn't know how to do things. And then we got down to the hospital, and the police were trying to question her. She had just gone in, misnavigated a turn, gone into a barbed wire fence, and she was heavily medicated. And they're trying to ask her questions. And I came in like Clarence Darrow, like, "What the F bomb are you doing? She'd tell you she shot John F. Kennedy if you asked her in the right way. You need to leave and come back tomorrow," or whatever it was. So I went out into the ER waiting room where a lot of our friends were, and I was like, who do I call? Who do I call to help injured motorcycle riders? And they kind of looked at me like a deer in headlights, and they were like, "Well, what do you mean? Who do you call?" And I'm like, "Man, we ride for every dog, cat, mouse, monkey. I got an ingrown toenail. Are you really going to tell me that there's no organization out there that helps an injured rider?" And they said no. And I said, "Well, there is now." And of course, to be honest with you, I look back at 16 years ago, and what I wanted to do was water your plants, check your mail, and maybe your driveway. But what it ended up becoming was somebody who really listened to the injured riders and what they needed. And I remember my first call was, "Hey, I'm getting out of the hospital in an hour, and I need a wheelchair."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Okay." So I got on Craigslist, got a wheelchair, went and picked it up, and was so damn proud of myself that I had gotten this wheelchair for someone. So then I started collecting medical equipment that I could loan out. It does certainly help that I've been through a lot of trauma in my life that God didn't do, but God chose at this moment to use it to help others, such as being a widow, and losing somebody instantly, not getting to say goodbye, understanding the challenges of that and what someone's going through. You can have
Right.
empathy for somebody, but unless you've been through it, you really don't know how to help them navigate it. I was a 15-year insurance defense paralegal, so I understand that no insurance company is your friend. Uh, that they will do anything. I mean, we had real quick, we had a case where a stripper lived in an apartment complex, and she went down in Texas, and she went to go do her laundry, and the maintenance guy beat her up and raped her. Um,
Wow.
if they would have just thrown $36,000 at her, which is what they were requesting, instead, they spent 6 to 9 months destroying her life and humiliating her. So my point to all that is that I know what to tell you, what to do after an accident, which is stay off your social media. Don't put all your facts out there, all you're doing, because if you don't think the insurance defense firm will scour your Facebook. So, as an example, I tell people all the time, listen, you may have had no alcohol, but if every other picture on your social media is you with a fireball and a beer, you need to privatize your Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
because they will then use that going, "Well, you drank the day before. Do you think you still had that?" Yeah, they will do anything that they can to try to pay you less. So it's just as I grew, I kept listening to what the bikers needed. And we've created an organization that we didn't invent the wheel of helping injured riders, but I do feel that the way I do it is one of the best, which is knowledge is power, and awareness, and really trying to resonate with the bikers of what they need to have, what they truly need to have, versus what they think they can only afford. And so we probably in 16 years helped 2,500 motorcycle accidents across the country, easily done over 150 to 200 fatalities.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's an epidemic. I get 3 to 4 help requests per day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it's from all over the country. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
but every single one of them, it's like being a trauma nurse. Every time you get in that chopper or you get in an ambulance, it's a trauma. And so
Right.
I never get one that says, "Hey, Laurie, I've been in an accident. I'm doing great." It's, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? How are we going to pay for this? How are we going to do that?" So over the course of the years, I've come up with a lot of what I call financial strategies, because I can't give everybody a check. But
Oh yeah. Right.
what I can do is have you do a help request. I will call you personally. I will ask a lot of questions. The ones that just want to check will they will be upset that I'm asking those kind of questions. But what I'm trying to do in that intake is really find out the best way to help you. And as an example, do you own or rent your home? Okay, well, we own. Okay, well, here's what you're going to do. On Monday, you're going to call your mortgage company and you're going to ask for a temporary hardship. And what that means is you're going to move several of your house payments on the back end of the note. Now, some mortgage companies won't want to do that. But what they also may do is waive the interest if you just pay the principal. We all know that my house payment is $3,000 a month, but only $400 a month goes towards my principal. So sometimes they'll waive that interest for 2 months, and that gives you a substantial less amount of money that you have to keep a roof over your head. If you have car payments, yeah, my wife's got a car payment and I have a car payment. Okay, you're going to do the same thing with that principal, and you're going to call and you're going to ask for 3 months to be put on the back end of the note. Ask for 3, they'll give you 2.
Okay.
If you financed your bike and you've now wrecked your bike, stop paying, and you have insurance, stop paying your bike payment, because they're probably going to total it, or they'll give you, or they'll give you ask for a temporary hardship for 30 days so you can determine how bad off your bike is. Is it going to be repaired or is it totaled? If it's totaled, they're going to pay off the loan amount. So save that bike payment. But again, knowledge is power, and you need to know how to do that. Little things like that. If I can help someone through the next 60 days, emotionally, financially, well, mounting hospital bills. I said, if you don't have health insurance, the odds are that the hospital who wants to be paid is going to try to get you on Medicaid.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, I always tell people with fundraisers, please do not put, rising medical bills. The money's going to go towards medical bills, because the truth of the matter is that your ER bill was probably 45 to 50 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
But they considered it a trauma, and they brought in brain, they bring in spine, they bring in everybody. And the truth of the matter is you're not going to raise that kind of money. So it's just no point in saying medical bills, because people are, first of all, we're fundraisered out. Everybody.
Oh yeah.
But then I also realized that if you are going to do a fundraiser, using certain platforms that begin with a G that everyone is very familiar with, has exorbitant credit card processing fees that you don't see on the front end. So I created our Biker Down created our own fundraising platform called BD Fund Me. We get charged 2.9% credit card processing. We ask most donors to donate those fees, so that the writer, at a time when they need the funds the most, they're getting 100% of the funds. So, over the course, this all didn't happen overnight. It was a course of, learning and listening to the biker community as to what they really needed, and coming up with financial strategies. The other thing that I feel is really hard, because by normal circumstances, we all want to take every lawyer, chain them to a concrete block, and throw them into the ocean. Okay? Nobody likes lawyers. But the truth of the matter is that after an accident, the minute that person hit you, they are calling their insurance company, who's calling an insurance defense firm, who is anticipating you're going to sue them. We have almost that same mentality. And please don't be misguided by billboard lawyers. You know, I'm in Vegas and I counted from Las Vegas Boulevard to the D Casino on Fremont. I counted 75
They're everywhere.
And that's almost in Arizona, it's the same way. In Cali, it's the same way. They just have no regulation on how much they can overwhelm someone on the side of the highway. Those are called billboard lawyers. And, you know, they pay $5,000 a month almost for every billboard. So the point to that is that those lawyers will take every single case. And even if they're good lawyers, they're going to encourage you to settle.
Oh, yeah.
They're not the kind of law firms that have the resources and the staff to take something fully to trial. And there's a huge difference between a vehicular motorcycle or a vehicular accident with two cars and the injury sustained versus on a motorcycle where you don't have 6 airbags. So the injuries that a motorcycle sustains 85% worse than in a car. So that is the reason that all these lawyers are jumping on the bandwagon and add just a little tab to their website that says, I handle motorcycle cases. No, you know, they're not well equipped in trial or in deposition. And I hate to go long on that, but the truth of the matter is some witness will go, well, that bike was going fast. Well, how do you know? Well, it was loud. My bike is loud the minute I start it up. But you have a witness that's all of a sudden now, and you have to know how to counteract that in the discovery process. You have to know how to examine them. You need to understand the common knowledge of how many accidents are left turns by a driver.
Right.
And the consciousness of the brain of why they don't see us when they make left turns. The only way you're going to get that kind of representation immediately is to go to what I call a true motorcycle attorney.
Right.
Go to trial, that is invested in the biker community, that understands what you ride, how you ride, and things like that. Those billboard lawyers are looking for fast and easy. And if there's potholes along the way of litigation, they're going to encourage you to settle. And the insurance defense firms know that.
Right.
So it just, the things I've learned over the years and with my legal background has really prepared me. As I always said, God didn't cause my trauma, but God certainly is using all my life experience in the service of others. So, you know, we've been doing it for 16 years, and it's just an honor every day. I can't tell you that it's not mentally trying, you know, emotionally, empathy and things like that, but it's an honor to serve this motorcycle community.
So what does a person supposed to do?
I got a quick question. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, what does Biker Down actually? I was going to say, what does Biker Down actually offer?
Well, I mean, as a whole, we are there to get you, to help navigate you through recovery. So as an example, I don't know if you're married, but let's just say for the sake of the discussion you are, and you're in the hospital and you can't fend for yourself and you're the primary breadwinner in your family. It doesn't mean mama doesn't work. She works at home and she works a job. But what she needs is somebody, because initially every wave of worry is going to hit her and your family. And they're gonna be like, oh my God, what do we do? Who do we call? Where do we go? What do we do? And most people will say, hey, give Biker Down a call, do a help request. Once I get that, I talk them off the ledge. And I know that that's not a check, but it is, oh my God, we don't have health insurance. As long as they are treating him, do not worry about the medical bills.
Got you.
You know, as long as they're treating him, he is fine. They will eventually, even if you make too much money when you first go into the hospital because you had a good job, but it didn't have benefits, 6 weeks down the road, get on Medicaid. They will find a way to, in this day and age, they will find a way to make sure that they get paid. But my point is, it's having someone that can literally almost hold someone's hand and navigate them through. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I need you to get a 3-ring notebook. I need you to create dividers. I need you to put medical bills, household bills, lawyer, traffic court. As an example, if you get hit by a car and they get cited for reckless driving causing bodily injury, most people don't forget to tell you that you need to contact the court where the traffic violation, where that driver's going to have to go to court. Why? Because they need to know the severity of the bodily injury. If nobody calls the traffic court or the prosecutor and says, hey, I'm the wife of so-and-so, my husband's in an induced coma, will maybe never walk again, that puts a whole different spin on whether or not how they prosecute him, whether they'll take a plea deal. But if that person doesn't have anybody, showing up, talking, telling the truth, a lot of times they'll reduce that sentence down. It's still, in a personal injury case, doesn't change the liability, but it also changes the fact that you can get their driving record quicker, you can get their insurance quicker, you can get things a lot quicker by just pursuing that. And there are times where a judge would give them, they're not going to go to jail. Everyone within the sound that's listening, when someone hits you, I know you want justice. Get justice in your wallet, because they're not going to go to jail.
Right.
Even if they kill you on the bike, because the courts and everybody consider these accidents.
Right.
So when I'm talking to somebody, I'm trying to keep it real with them, but also give them plausible solutions. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to have you write down. You've got to come up with a budget. I know he was the primary breadwinner, but you need to know. You need to call every creditor before they start spitting out, you're a deadbeat, you're a deadbeat. And knowledge is power to creditors. If you tell them what's going on, then you'd be surprised how many creditors will work with you. So, so that's number one. The help request is vitally important because I stay on that. Then we figure out what do they do for work? Do they have short-term disability? Do they have long-term disability? These are things you have to extract out of somebody to let them know either, man, you are screwed on all fronts, or, okay, let's keep it real. He's going to get 60% of his income for the next 6 months. Okay, now, if we get these payments moved, it's all financial strategy on how one can keep their nose above water. And that's all you can do in this day and age. If they need a fundraiser, we're happy to host the fundraiser, but it's just really unrealistic. The other thing people don't realize is if you get life flighted, that $85,000 life flight bill is not covered under your insurance. So it just isn't. And not part of Kaiser didn't approve it. They did that to save your life, and now here's the bill. And people go, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. If you don't have a ton of assets, go to bankruptcy court, spend $2,000 and make a lot of that shit go away. So let them treat them, let it add up. If you don't have a personal injury claim, just let the dust settle, go get good legal advice from a bankruptcy attorney. And maybe in a year, you can walk out of this with a clean slate and a fresh perspective, because that's what happens when you get hit by a driver only carrying liability, or even at full coverage, there's still policy limits if they don't have an umbrella policy. And I know you're going to have somebody on next week, I think, that's going to talk more in depth about insurance, but insurance and being covered is probably one of the key roles that I do on a weekly basis as far as getting motorcycle awareness out. Now, what else does Biker Down do? If you need medical equipment, and I can, as an example, if you're in Tampa, Florida, and your man needs a hospital bed, I will usually tell them, go on Craigslist. There are plenty of people trying to sell grandma's hospital bed.
Yeah, all day.
And find out what it is, use the Biker Down, lay down the Biker Down name, and then I'll Venmo them or Zelle them the $150. So we do try as best as we can to provide medical equipment for people. In those kind of instances, I'm not going to get that medical equipment back, so I just tell them to pay it forward. But here in Colorado, in Las Vegas, we keep 20 by 20 garage storage bins filled with medical equipment. And you'd be surprised how much that really helps someone when all of a sudden a 12-year-old physical therapist is like, you needed this and you needed that. And I'm just trying to breathe in and out, and being able to have a friend come and meet us at the Biker Down storage and grab what you need is really, really important. One of the other things that we do is in a biker fatality, we can, when requested, donate a motorcycle urn. I don't believe, and I started that because I don't believe that a biker really wants to be in some flowery vase, so these are pretty badass motorcycle urns that when someone looks at it, and the reason we started doing that is I could send someone $100 check, but it didn't really resonate with them. It got put in the pile with everybody else's assistance. What I found is that the motorcycle urn, every time they look at it, oh my God, where'd you get that? Oh, Biker Down donated that to us. So we try as best we can to be there, especially in a fatality also. And sometimes Biker Down doesn't come in until the third month or the fourth month after in a fatality, after the funeral's over and everybody's moved on with their lives. A lot of people are left feeling that loss forever and so then we'll do something called Healing Through Loss, and we'll do a class or a seminar where I'll come into Vegas and I'll get a suite, and keep it very intimate. I don't want to do it in a restaurant, but we try to bring everybody that's lost a spouse come to Healing Through Loss, because those people in that room can relate to what you're going through, and they're all at different stages of grief. If you're a parent and you've lost your child, I had a dad that 2 years later is still struggling with the loss of his son. There's some underlying,
because there is no time limit.
Yeah, but we're not supposed to bury our children. But if you can get them to a Healing Through Loss evening where he's there with other dads that can say, I understand. Because everybody tries to be polite in a fatality, to be like, how are you doing? My life sucks. Thanks for asking. And they don't mean to. They just don't really know what to say. Well, it was the Lord wanted it. No, the Lord does not crash somebody into a car that was on a motor. That's not how my loving God operates. But there is free will.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And people make decisions. But God did ascend and grab his soul, and he's alive up here.
So let me ask you this. So I noticed you mentioned earlier about social media should not be the first thing you do when a biker goes down. So tell everyone do's and don'ts when a biker goes down.
I think that you can say, hey guys, John went down on our ride to Cali. He's recovering at the hospital. Prayers would be appreciated.
Right.
But you don't go into this asshole ran into me and you just don't go into all the details of it. You can definitely get on social media and say that somebody's been in an accident, but you just don't want, what happens is then people put their 2 cents in. well, he rides really fast, or he rides reckless. Yeah, who knows what people will say, but you get one person on there going, man, that guy rides like a bat out of hell. That person's now a witness.
Oh, wow.
They will
Hey.
call that person and they will say, or was he stoned when he rode? He gets stoned. He's a stoner, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't want any of that shit on your social media, because an insurance company will just eat that up.
Right.
And something, and I'll give you another example, and this is from the heart. My husband was in an accident, got hit by a hit and run driver. It was right in front of 7-Eleven, and they had cameras. I love Pineapple. She's trying to get me to the membership program, and we're having it. But anyway, we got the videotape, and so I decided, dumb me, and I have all this legal experience. I'm going to use this as a learning tool for my injured riders. So I tell him, oh man, we're so great. We secured the videotape. Well, then my lawyer looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
And my lawyer, like, you don't see the car. And I said, yeah, but you see my husband pointing and everything else. And so we never said another word about it. A year and a half later, that insurance company, and you gotta have some patience to scour my social media, saw that post where I claimed I had the video.
Oh.
And all of a sudden went to my lawyer and said, we want the video. And that changed the whole trajectory of his case, because I mentioned that. And so if it can happen to me, I'm telling you, it can happen.
For sure.
And what happens is you're in the heat of the moment. You're like, I really did. I was going to use this as such a learning tool for people. We've got underinsured motorists and everything. Well, we can't see the driver. And so, I mean, we ended up, and my husband did 5 things wrong, and he didn't wait for the cops. He thought he could get the bike home, so here I am doing the police report online instead of just waiting for the cops. He's in a club and he's like, fuck it, I'm out of here, and we did everything wrong, and we of all people should know to do everything right. And so I'm just saying, staying off social media is a big thing, or being very careful. And if you are going to post something and you've gotten a lawyer, then you need to run things by your lawyer.
Right.
My sense.
I have a question for you. Are you a nonprofit?
I am a nonprofit. I'm going to be honest with you. I was a 501c3 for 14 years.
Okay.
It got me street credit. But to be quite honest with you, it doesn't benefit me at all to be a 501c3. And why is that? Because the majority of my sponsors write me off as marketing. They're Biker Down. The GoFundMe is not a nonprofit that takes donations. They are a for-profit corporation.
Right.
So my point is, I'm not going to spend 30 minutes filling out 6 inches of paperwork to save $2.95 at Home Depot.
Right.
Yeah. Now if I was buying a new truck for Biker Down, yeah, that would be worth having the 501c3. But we've never been blessed that much yet. I still use my own vehicle. Luckily, my attorney here in Colorado did a wrap, but I still use my trailer, but we don't buy those big things. So, so it just was a decision I made about a year and a half ago. Is this really benefiting me? And the truth is most of the writers that are donating $20, and I put a survey out. Most of them don't remember to take that $20 donation and put it on their taxes. They're donating to help somebody that they love. And so I'm still a nonprofit in the state of Colorado and in the state of Nevada, or anywhere. You can be a nonprofit. You don't have to be a 501c3.
So, that's a deeper part of the conversation.
Yeah, so I am a nonprofit here in Colorado and Las Vegas, where I have a fully functional chapter.
Okay.
So, Miss Laurie, I have a question for you. This is such good information, and it just goes back to when you first started the conversation. And I've been in a couple situations where I'm with my friends and family, and they get in an accident, and it goes haywire at the scene, right? So, what do you say? What are the first three things that someone should do when they arrive at a motorcycle accident? Like just three things that for sure needs to be done to start everything off right.
Well, I would say one of the first things, if you're riding regularly in a group, or with a lot of people that you ride with frequently, I would really suggest that one or two of you take the accident scene management class. The reason is that accident scene management class is a 1-day class, and it teaches you what to do on scene, meaning how to secure the scene. When my girlfriend went into the barbed wire fence, everybody was like, "Don't move her, don't move her." Well, she's got barbed wire, and we have got to get her off this barbed wire. You know, having a trauma kit in your bike is incredibly important. I just brought one here. I just had it. I can't.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Hold on, I got it here somewhere. I just got to turn the lights on. Oh, here it is. Biker down. Oh, I have these small trauma packs that have a tearaway. They're combat medics love them because if you don't have a lot of room in your saddlebag, you can put it on your sissy bar and it'll rip off. But inside of here is a tourniquet, an Israeli bandage, which if nobody knows what an Israeli bandage is, it's a bandage that has elastic. So if somebody's bleeding like really bad here, you can put that bandage on and wrap it around them. It has saline. It has gauze. It has, even if it's not a serious accident, people can burn their legs. But the accident scene management class, having somebody somewhat trained, because you learn in that class, I am not your blood and guts girl, but I know how to get off that bike, get that person the trauma kit, and I know how to secure the scene, or I know how to keep traffic moving. The one thing is that you need to save their life, and people will say, don't take off their helmet. Well, if their helmet's on and they're laying a certain way, they could literally choke to death because nobody's taken the helmet off to cut so that they can breathe. But if you have to take if someone is breathing, then you have to know, okay, we don't need to take off their helmet. But if they're not breathing, we have to start doing CPR. This has a breathing barrier in it. You don't always know who you're giving CPR to. Gloves. If you're in an accident and there's blood and you need a mask and you need like 6 sets of gloves to handle the blood, what if you have to cut off their cut, or their chaps or whatever? You need the scissors by which to do that, the shears like they use in the hospital. So I would say the number one thing is have a trauma kit, at least somebody on their ride.
Okay.
Take the accident scene management class.
Okay.
Because you're going to learn how to move the body, how to roll them on their side if they're throwing up, how to properly balance them and put their knee out so that they can, you hate to say it, so that they can throw up and they don't choke on their own vomit. I mean, there's a lot of things, because your only job at the accident is to gather witnesses, take photos, and just keep that rider sustained until EMTs can ride. But we all ride in very rural areas, and it can take sometimes 30 to 45 minutes before an ambulance or a fire truck can get to you. So you've got to have that skill set to be able to, and that's one of the reasons that Full Throttle does them. We've done them here for 15 years. It's probably one of the best things that one can do going into the mindset of accident scene management. What am I going to do? Because you learn who can do what. I mean, if you've got bad knees and you can't get down on your knees and help an injured rider in class, then you ain't going to be able to do it on the side of the road.
Right.
And I need to know that with who I'm riding with, so that everybody knows what to do in the event of an accident. Very, very important.
I love that.
a lot of people will put all their bikes around an injured rider. All you've done is create 6 targets for a car to hit. It sounds good, but what is better is to have that I call it that Girl Scout blanket or Boy Scout blanket, that like solar blanket that's in the kit, and you can lay that out and you can slowly get that biker off the road. So if you need to, traffic needs to, so there's just so many things that you'll learn in 8 hours that you will never pick up. And you don't have to be a EMT, you don't have to really understand, but you have to learn what tasks to do and how to do it properly.
Got it.
So that would be number one. And then obviously, the insurance is vitally important after an accident.
So yeah, so you're basically saying like when a scene of accident, you get the information, insurance, make sure you take photos of what's going on before stuff changes, and having a course behind you so you know what to do for your injured rider if you have.
Yeah, here's a really good example. If you're out and you have your phone, everybody has a phone, everybody has video. If that driver at that moment is so upset and he's going, oh my God, it was my fault. I didn't see him. It was my fault. You need to record that, because what will happen is he will get home and he will have his come to Jesus moment. Oh shit. Sorry, am I allowed to say that on live air?
Yes, you are.
And then he will literally change his story.
Yeah.
So you got to preserve all of that and really be aware. If there are other people that stopped, that saw it, you need their name. What's your phone number? Can I put you in my phone? Because what happens on a highway or anything like that is, like here in Colorado, I may have someone go down in Colorado Springs, but that car that witnessed the accident might be on their way to New Mexico.
Yeah.
So not everybody that's going to see an accident is going to be local.
Right.
So having their information is vitally important. And, listen, bikers are profiled all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in a fatality. It is, I would say, almost 85% of the time in a fatality where the biker dies, all of a sudden, it's all the biker's fault.
Yep.
Because the biker can't say anything and the biker can't testify. And, so they just, and then the driver changes his mind and goes, oh, well, he was driving, So you got to have those skid marks and this and that, and as much video as you can or documentation to give to the family, give to the motorcycle lawyer, to protect them. It's really, really important, because having to go back again, if you're on a highway or a road that has a 7-Eleven, has a bank, has this, all those places are taking video.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
I would never leave it up to the popo to get those videos. I want those videos. I want my lawyer to go get those videos. I want to see for myself. And sometimes that's a tremendous help to the family. Listen, not every biker rides reasonably and responsibly, but there are times that the family needs closure.
Yeah.
And listen, if he was out riding, doing what he loved, I know it doesn't matter, but sometimes it matters, because everybody wants someone to blame.
Right.
And sometimes it is the biker's fault. It just is. Not all the time, not most of the time. But I will be honest with you, we had a lot more rider error over the past couple years than I've ever seen before. And maybe that's because I'm getting more help requests and everything else. But it seems like here in even Colorado, surprisingly, we have year-round riding. We used to only get a couple days in the winter. Now we get weeks. And so our accidents are rising because our riders are out on the road more. A lot of people with gas prices are now taking their bike, and where they wouldn't have maybe done it back and forth to work, they're doing it to save money. So there's a lot more time on the bike, and you're seeing more accidents. But sometimes it is the biker's fault. I mean, we don't live in a perfect world, but sometimes those videotapes are what a family needs for closure and any personal injury lawsuit that you might have.
Perfect. Yes, love it. Thank you for that. That's awesome. That's some great info
Thank
for
you.
everyone to know and share.
Like Pineapple asked earlier about, the memberships. How does that work if somebody
Well,
wanted to join
we
Biker Down?
have two memberships through Biker and Down. We have a $37.50 per year annual membership. That includes 2 motorcycle tows up to $300 by what I call a true motorcycle towing company. We all love our babies. We've all seen the horror videos of I call AAA to come get my bike, and the guy comes out with this ridiculous flatbed, has no wheel chalk or anything, and just scrapes my bike up onto the back of the flatbed. When you have the Biker Down membership, we have retained motorcycle transport service. They have certified motorcycle towers all over the country. So if you're on your way to Daytona, and you're in Colorado and you go down and break down in Texas, you may think, you don't even know. Most people don't. When I ask this question, well, I've got towing through my bike insurance. Well, how far does it take you? They can't tell you.
Right.
So what I say
Right.
is have the Biker Down towing, call them, the certified tower will come out. He's reputable, he's licensed, he can bill your AAA, he could bill your Progressive, and he can bill Biker Down, and that's called stacking. So that can sometimes, you may only have $500 cash in your pocket to go to rally, and if you don't have the right towing insurance, your friends got to get going. They need you to have the right coverages to get. And I said this weekend, and I had a lot of clubs at my ride, and I said, why in the hell all of you don't have the Biker Down membership? Why you feel the need to go wake a brother up to go get their trailer?
Yep. Been there.
To go get you. But the truth of the matter is if you just pay $37.50, you get 2 tows per year nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the $37.50 does. And then the next membership level we have is more of a monthly membership. The one thing that I realize, we live in an economy where not everybody has a ton of insurance and things like that. We offer Aflac. We offer the duck. And I went that route, one, because at the time my daughter was selling Aflac, and her and I had a long conversation. And so it includes the Aflac accident policy. And what that means is you go down anytime you go to an ER or an aftercare, you are getting a check from Aflac. Where it really comes into play is once they admit you. So let's just say you take a terrible accident, where he gets admitted, he's in ICU for 14 days, having multiple surgeries. 14 times $300 a day is $5,200 or 4,200, 40, whatever it is. I think it's 40. Is it 40? Whatever it is.
42. 42.
Yeah, right. But you know what I'm saying? That's more money you're going to raise.
What are numbers?
What are numbers? But so now they're in there for 14 days. Now they go to a regular hospital room. You're getting $150 a day in a regular hospital room, and you get rehab up to 30 days at $100 a day. If your family has to come, like if you were going through Colorado and had an accident, are you guys in California?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're in, now your relative has to come and get a hotel stay. They'll take care of, they'll give you so much per diem for a family member to come and stay at a hotel. So there are a lot of benefits.
Right.
In the event of a fatality, in Nevada, you get a $65,000 accidental death benefit.
Oh, okay, Dazzling.
On the bike. Now, what I tell people about that is, how many of you legitimately have life insurance on yourself?
Right.
I'm 63 years old. If I went to go get $65,000 worth of life insurance right now, I would probably pay close to $35 a month. So why not spend $37.50 to have the Aflac that kicks in any type of accident. You could be skiing, you could be mountain climbing, you could be hiking, you could be whitewater rafting, you could be water skiing. Anytime you get injured and go to an ER or an aftercare, you are getting in touch
Covered.
with Aflac. And it really
Gotcha.
starts to add up. We had a gentleman that was in my husband's club, and he installed windows, and he fell off the ladder head first onto the concrete. He got over $27,000 from Aflac,
Whew.
tax free, for
Mm.
$37.50 a month.
Mm.
It really is. It's less than $2 a day, and it's truly the best money that one will ever spend. Um, Actually, Shannon just said, now my family won't have to have a car wash to bury me.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
the goal. That is the goal.
Well, but the thing is how many times in a fatality does somebody go, oh my God, how are we going to afford it? How are we going to bury him? How are we going to do this? And there's kind of where you get to, I am my own keeper. Instead of asking all my friends in a tragedy to donate, it's what you're willing to give up. For $37.50 a month, what it cost me to go through Wendy's drive-through the other day for two people,
Yeah, yeah,
We not
yeah,
gonna lie.
yeah.
Wendy's did go up on their prices.
Yeah, what I'm,
Man.
what I spend, what I could spend per month getting a specialty coffee at Starbucks.
Mhm.
If you really take maybe one pizza delivery and one Starbucks, you got to give up. You can afford the Aflac every month. And if you don't want to do it for you, do it for the family around you. Have it for the family that loves you, that no longer, we don't live in generations that any of us have expendable income. So
Right.
that's why it is so vitally important before we throw a leg over that we know what our insurance is going to cover. We know if we have Aflac, we know if we have to do a tow, we know how far that's going to take us. Knowledge is power. And that's the one thing, I understand you're an outlaw. I understand, if I die on the bike, I'm okay with that. But there's still a family that one is leaving behind that has to pick up the pieces of your decisions. And having that, there's no greater feeling than when I walk into a hospital of someone that got the Aflac and like, you know what? I got underinsured motorists because Laurie told me. I got the Aflac because Laurie told me I'm good. Now just go focus on my family while I get better. Instead of that poor wife with 3 children under 9 who's they've chosen for her to stay home, which I 100% admire. And now you're, potentially that rider is out riding with liability only or no insurance at all and nothing to protect the family. It's really, really vitally important that you have the coverages. Give up that $85 Harley t-shirt. Give up that $9 Fireball, $12 beer, and I promise you, you can, or the other extracurricular things that one does, and find $37.50. Because what I normally tell people is, if you say you can't afford it, then you probably can't afford to not have it. Because if you're struggling that badly, and we all are, if somebody throws a wrench in that motor, I'm good as long as everything's going fine.
Yep.
Somebody throws a wrench in that engine and all of a sudden I got a repair bill on my 2000 Jeep Cherokee when I was a single mom, it could wipe me out. So that's what I'm saying is once it starts getting deducted out of your bank account every month, you'll get to a point where you don't even miss it. And it's less than $2 a day. And to know that you have the accidental death benefit is just incredibly important because that gives your family time to grieve instead of when I lost someone, I literally was back to work 3 weeks later because I didn't have any choice. He left me nothing. And I don't fault him for that. we thought we'd live forever. We thought we were invincible. And life is not that way. And it will throw challenges at you. And sadly, we're losing way too many on the bike as it is. And, just
Mhm.
having something. If not for you, do it for the family around you.
Love that.
Thank you, Laurie.
No worries.
That's it.
Is that it?
Well, we'd like to thank you for
Go on
coming
forever.
on for us tonight. Yeah,
Practice
we can do about an
Laurie,
hour.
she's
So we already
awesome.
54 minutes.
No, we're great. Only thing I would tell anybody within the sound of your listening audience, if you know of somebody that's gone down on the bike, it needs some help, please do a help request on bikerdown.org. And I will call you personally. I try to give myself a 24 to 48 hour window because I try to do them in order, but you will personally get a phone call from me. And I am not a front for law firms. I am a proponent for the law firms. And as Pineapple was saying, if you'd like to make a donation to Biker Down, you can go to www.bikerdown.org. There's a donate button. If you need fundraising, we would be very honored to host your fundraiser for you. If you want, if you don't want to make a donation, go to the store on our website, buy a t-shirt, buy a trauma kit, buy some stickers, I got this, you'll love this one. I got this reflective patch.
Yeah. My buddy got one on the back of his vest.
And you
But
would
it's big.
and well,
It's
I got
big.
that big one too. You mean big
There
like
you go.
that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See the difference?
Oh yeah.
But it will literally light up the
Yeah.
back of your vest. So when a car is coming, they will see you. And the truth of the matter is, most people don't want to hit you, but they don't see you. They're not paying attention. We ask all drivers to stop driving distracted. Please put the phone down. I come from a generation where we didn't have a cell phone. We broke down, we got out of the car and we walked to the gas station. But we live in a time where from the moment my grandchildren came out of the womb, they had YouTube on a phone. And don't really understand the impulse control. I promise you, with modern technology, put your phone on silent. When you're in the car, have it plugged in, have it on Bluetooth at least. Go, hey Siri, call Dazzlin, call Pineapple. You can have conversations, but if your hands are on 10 and 2 and your eyes are on the road, you're a lot less apt to run into a motorcycle rider. But I just thank you guys so much for having me on. If anybody has any questions or anything like that, please, contact me on Biker Down. I'm a pretty easy find on social media. If I didn't answer a question that you might have, I'm the one you're going to be talking to behind those call signs, and it would just be my honor to help.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right,
All right, y'all.
Thank you, Miss Laurie. Awesome.
All right, and we know how the rest of this goes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and make sure you guys share this video. There's a lot of people who can use not only the information, but the service, the membership, all that. So just make sure we get it out there across the board.
And it's one hell of a membership.
Yeah, I'm about to sign up tomorrow.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
You get more than a pin and a pad.
Yeah, what you playing?
More than a pin and a pad.
Somebody gonna be out there in the you're gonna be at the Mojave, out there in the Mojave Desert, talking about what was this shit on bikes in the hood? Yeah, you better get it together.
I love it.
All right, anybody got anything else? Get out of here.
That's it.
Yay, nay, it's quiet to the. All right. I'll see everybody next Monday, and we are just about up out of here.
Bye.
Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Bikes in the Hood podcast channel on YouTube. Your support is greatly appreciated. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and Facebook. Stay safe in them streets.